He has made such a faux pas with that first decision where he's gone, this is my way of levelling it.
The thing is, though, I can pretty much guarantee the team that comes third will not make it through the playoffs.
Welcome back to Lose to Win, the podcast with myself, Jack, Josh and Ben. No guests this week. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Wonderful. Thank you. Good evening, gents.
Yeah.
Good evening, Josh. Good evening, Jack. Very good. Very good. Have a good couple of weeks off.
Yeah, it's been all right. Yeah, I didn't do particularly well on the old scales. We'll come to that in a bit, I'm sure. But I did enjoy myself. It was my birthday, and every other Tom, Dick, and Harry's in my family's birthday, so we did enjoy that. But yeah, absolutely back on it, and yeah, other than that, all good, mate. What about yourself?
Excellent. Yeah, had a lovely time. We went away for a few days over Easter, which was nice. Again, celebrated a birthday and an anniversary. So we had a little bit of celebration. So sadly, last week did put a tiny bit of weight back on. Not masses though, so I was quite pleased with that. I had a good week leading up to Easter. And so hopefully we'll be at a good week this week. So fingers crossed be down again tomorrow. So yeah, pretty happy all round. Easter wasn't anywhere near as bad as Christmas, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, that's always a bonus.
Yeah. How about you, Joshy? Did everyone buy you eggs?
No, I still only had that one egg that Jack gave me weeks ago. But fortunately, that's good because it was good for the waistline and good for the weight overall. So yeah, I had a good week. Just keep plugging away. Really, as I said to you guys previously, I don't have any. Easter isn't a huge thing for me, so it didn't feel any different. Apart from just the extra day off. So.
How's the toes, Joe? Everybody's Josh. Everybody's dying to know how are the toes. What's called you, Joe? How's your toe, Joe?
They're good. Yeah, they're fine. Should be back within a week or so, maybe a couple at the most. But I'm looking to come back this time next week. So
are you playing next week?
We shall see.
Are you playing on Friday next week?
Oh, I know it's the graveyard shift. That's all I know. Yeah.
What team is it?
It won't be us because we're graveyarding this week. That eliminates one team at least.
You're going to have to strap it up, Joshy, because they'll know. They'll go. Yeah, let's
steady on.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I'll be heavily strapped and just and I'll just take it easy. I won't be silly.
Good.
I don't think there'll be any explosive runs through the pitch. I'll tell you that.
Oh, I know what you're like, Josh. I look forward to you gliding past me anytime.
Yeah. There'll be a rush of blood and away he goes.
It's the mental thing for me because I don't want to overdo it. So I'm just like. Oh, yeah. Oh, apparently no. Next week. Oh God. Next week we have you. No, sorry. We have Purples. Sorry, Jack. And the early kickoff.
That's why he's back. Fuck the Purples.
FTP.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah. I knew there was a game I was targeting. I knew there was a reason.
Shock! It's us. It's fine.
Mate, when you're at the top of the league, son, people are gunning for you.
Yeah, we'll see. Only at the top.
But yeah, good week. Lost some decent weight. Surprisingly, almost made team of the week, despite a 0.9 kilos.
Well, don't we? To be fair, most people put on right after Easter.
Yeah. So maybe we should kind of jump into that. Really.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So also, it was me kind of running the session.
Of course, you were the boss man.
Yeah,
but Steve kind of leaves us. Yeah, he leaves us alone for 1 week, just one really, and we kind of fall apart like Sheffield United with a 3-1 lead against Fulham. To be fair, it's always tricky after a week with no weigh-in, particularly when that week is chock full of Easter eggs for some, at least, and birthdays for others. But last week's collective gain of 13.3 kilos is still a disappointing showing, to be honest. It's not all doom and gloom though. With a number of fine individual results and two teams, the Blacks us Blacks and the Oranges maintaining collective losses.
Well done. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, so the overall results then, Purples, you keep steamrolling on with a 21-8 win against the Yellows.
Mad.
We won't mention it was incorrectly scored as 24. And then it was me accidentally typing in Tom Dowling's
would you type it went to maintenance or something?
Yeah, I typed it as 11.9 rather than what it was. So
okay.
So it accidentally registered that as maintenance even after I corrected it. So I don't know why.
Okay. We did well, seeing as I contributed almost a quarter of that, or quarter of the group's gain.
Did
this,
you?
yeah, mate, yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, mate. Not
wow. You
not
did
good,
have a
not
good weekend.
Yeah. So we certainly did well, despite my efforts to ruin it for the purples.
Amazing, mate.
Greens won 17-2 against the whites.
They're still rolling.
Us blacks lost 14-10 against the oranges.
Oh, that's close.
Despite a 6-0 or 6-1 or something like that pitch defeat, so we closed it and we won. At least the scale was that one. And then your Blues won 12-4 against the Reds.
Yes, a good win.
Yeah.
Good win.
So as I said, we came up empty-handed, despite losing an impressive 6.9 kilos collectively. With 5 players moving the scales in the right direction. 2 other teams, the Greens and the Purples, also had 5 losers last week, but those losses weren't enough to offset their teammates' gains overall. The Oranges were the only other team of the week who had a collective loss of 2.2 kilos. 10 hat-tricks we had, along with a solitary milestone man. And there may only be one milestone, but it is a whopper. It's Kevin Crago, who joins a highly prestigious 20% club.
Well done, Kev.
For which I ruined in the captain's chat.
You did, mate, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do it any justice at all. I just randomly said it.
Just blurted it out.
But that's a good company anyway he joins. 20% is extremely impressive.
Yeah, fantastic work.
He's lost a total of 27.1 kilos.
Whoa.
So more than half a Kylie since joining Man v Fat.
Amazing.
With 2.8 kilos falling off him last week alone, or the 2 weeks anyway. So he's showing no sign of letting up. So well done, Kevin, mate. On to the next one.
Fantastic.
Keep it up, mate.
Absolute fantastic. Purple legend. Doing amazing, mate. Keep it up.
Yeah. 9 went out of last man standing, leaving 16 goal scoring survivors, 3 of whom surrendered their grace week to stay in. That leaves us with just 6 exits away from the lucrative final 10. So time to dig deep. And of course, then that was goal scoring heaven for some of the people in last man.
Yeah.
Of course. Greens and purples, by the way, have each 4 players still in, with blacks, blues, and oranges all on 2. I know that.
Yeah.
Reds, yellows have 1 each, and whites, sadly, are without a horse in the race. So,
bless them.
Yeah. I know I'm still in last man. I think
well done.
Jimmy is. So we managed to make Jimmy stayed in with his grace week. You know, he turned up, was going, I'm not sure how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like all these things. And I know from experience, anyone who turns up and goes, I'm not sure, ends up losing weight. So he ended up losing weight quite comfortably from what I can tell, and stayed in with his grace week. I know he's on holiday in the next couple of weeks, so that's good for him.
Good
lad. Fair play to him.
And he's been really good. He's been leading by a good example as a captain. As I say, by proof of his you think he's in the top 10 in the biggest loser in terms of percentage.
Good man.
This season. So and he's lost every week. So done really well.
Good work, Jim.
Proof is in the pudding.
Exactly. It's an all new team of the week. Although Anthony Skerman at least maintains his family's presence in the side, taking over from Connor. And also taking over from Connor as biggest loser is Luke Cage, who weighed exactly Lukey. 4 kilos lighter than last.
Well done, mate. Yeah, fantastic.
That's unbelievable. Really, really, really impressive.
Yeah,
in a
well
week
done,
where
mate.
People across the league have struggled to make progress, Luke's achievement is to be applauded.
Yeah, definitely.
So well done, Luke, mate. Top job on that one. So he leads team of the week. The list as follows is Sonico, who lost 3.3 kilos. Tom Marks lost 2.8. Kevin, as we mentioned, lost 2.8. Anthony Skerman lost 2.6. Geordie lost 1.3.
Well done, mate.
And Mark Simpsons rounds it out with 1.1 kilos.
Well done, Mark, as well.
Yeah.
Going the wrong way last week wasn't entirely unpredictable, at least anyway, with the change of routine that school holidays inevitably bring.
Yeah.
At least now the Easter treats have come and gone, so it's time to refocus on the healthy habits that were working for us in general. So as a league, we've been really good this season, and it's just righting the ship for some, and then keep going along for others. If last week had been a wake-up call, so don't ignore it. but look for small changes to integrate into your routine, and something realistic and sustainable, as we say, rather than something so extreme that you won't stick to it. So we lose weight one good decision at a time, and such, and all the small differences add up to a healthier, happier result. So that's all we can do. Just keep doing that.
Absolutely.
Fair man.
Yeah. Back to business this week, really. And definitely when Steve retakes his place at the weigh-in, I suspect there'll be some fantastic losses. So
I would expect so this week.
He's given you a right hospital pass, and he pissing off that week. He knew what he was doing.
Something we did want to mention as we're halfway through the season is just a touch base with the standings.
Yeah.
Of the league.
So
the main league in general, purples, you're at the top with 14 points. Greens are second with 12 points. Oranges are third with 10. Then it's down to blues in fourth with 8. Reds in fifth with 6. Whites with 4 points.
Gosh.
What have I made that wrong? Sorry. Yeah, they're in 6. Right. Sorry.
Whites,
yeah. Blacks with 2 points in 7th, and then yellows unfortunately yet to put a point on the board in the main league.
So we're all separated by 2 points, everyone for the league. That's
14,
bonkers,
12, 10, 8,
it's
6,
weird,
14.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah, it's quite strange actually. The weight league is a little closer. So tied at the top with greens and purples on 12, although greens edge it by their goal
Very
difference.
Good. That's no mean feat, that, after the season they had last season. That's
absolutely. Yeah, they are mentality monsters.
Yeah, definitely.
As we keep mentioning, blues are then joint third with oranges with 8 points.
Cool.
Reds are then back with 5. Blacks and yellows both on 4, and then whites trailing with 3 points in that league. Then we come to the pitch league, and again purples lead that one. Top. Yeah, with 12.
Only
but
on goal difference.
Blues, yes, on goal difference.
1 goal in that thing,
as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Then we have oranges with 9, reds with 6, and then 3 teams all on 5, whites, greens, and yellows, and then us blacks, unfortunately, at the bottom of the pitch league with 2 points. Top scorers. Do you want to hear about top scorers and biggest losers so far?
Yeah.
So top 10, I reckon.
Top 10. Yeah. Go on.
So top 10, Ravnath with 11.5.
Oh, he's still up there, isn't he?
Goals scored. Yeah, I know, right? Chris Cowan just behind him on 11. Brilliant. Then we go down to Ryan and Dave, who are the kind of
they're the
9 each. They're the maintenance
boys. Yeah.
Then you've got your brother Luke Hayter with 8.5 and Ollie Wentworth with 8.5, and then a string of people with 8 goals down to 11th. So Jordan Hayter, Tom Marks, Dimmy, Tom Dowling, and Sam Denton. That's 11 people.
Well done, lads.
They're all on 8. Then when it comes to the biggest loser, Chris Cowan leads that one with 7.73% loss.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then we've got Hayter Brothers with Luke leading that one with 7.36%, and then Jordan just behind on 6.36%.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Then, as we mentioned, Jimmy, he's in there with 4th with 6.15%.
Brilliant.
Tom Marks behind with 6.14%. Kevin is up there with 5.97%.
Full of purples, isn't it? Full of it. Full of them.
Yeah. Rob Bridges with 5.82%. Rav is there in that one as well with 5.71%.
Wow.
Ollie Wentworth with 5.55. Tim Greenwood with 5.2.
Well done, Ollie and Tim.
Yeah. I myself am 11.
Same as Rav. Stay there from last season. Sorry, Josh Anjou. Very good, mate. Very, very good.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But I'm not in the top 10, so.
Yeah, it's but good. Dude, amazing achievement.
From a personal perspective of the purples, what's good is that we're not just doing it on one front, we're doing it on both in terms of the pitch and weight. That's what's important, isn't it? We know that the weight always outweighs the pitch result, so it's important to not neglect either, but the weight is the winner.
Weight's always key. We always say that.
Yeah.
You won't win anything unless you're winning it on weight. You can be smashing them in all week long. You'll be winning games 4 or 5-0, but you still won't win.
Yeah. Where are we with last man standing, Josh?
16 left, is it?
So we mentioned 16 left. 6 more and we go down to 10 for another glut of goals. And then I can't remember, but I think everyone who's in the final 10 for every week they continue to lose.
That's right. Get a goal.
That's correct. As we mentioned, greens and purples have 4 players still in.
Amazing.
And they're ahead of by 2. So they're ahead of Blacks, Blues, and Oranges got 2, etc.
I'd be surprised if it drops below the 10 this week, because I think a lot of people would have been righting some wrongs from the week before. So it may be a couple of weeks until we see that drop. Holidays tend to kill it off, don't they? When it drops to the lower numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I this is not me trying to out someone, but we had Chris Cowan, who's at the top of both those leagues. We know he's been on holiday. Is that correct?
Yeah, he has.
He lost his Grace Week this last week because of holiday.
Yeah.
Obviously, if by any reason he doesn't lose weight, then obviously he will drop out of last man.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously, I mean, the way he's been going.
Having spoken to him, he is working super hard. He's smashed in a run today and has been working as hard off the beers as he was on the beers. So he's in equal measure, I think is probably the best way to describe it. And he certainly enjoyed it. And when we got a photo of him and Craig and their family sat around, and the pair of them sat there, big grins on their face with a tanker of beer, they were certainly enjoying themselves.
Good for them. Well deserved, I say.
Sounds great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's for the roundup and the Man v Fat. Well, actually, no, we've got a couple of other Man v Fat related things to talk maybe about. Well, one of them is just a reminder to everyone out there, but Man v Chat, his first outing is this weekend.
Yep.
Yes.
There's more housekeeping on the 14th, so 10 a.m. at Aruba, I guess, outside
Bournemouth Pier,
etc.
10 o'clock
nice
is that?
early.
I think it's 10 o'clock.
Yeah, 10 o'clock.
10 a.m.
Nice and early for me, at least on a Sunday.
Cool.
Yeah, it's so halfway through my day, and you, Ben, I'm sure, with kids, that's halfway through our bloody day, isn't it?
Yes. Unless I get a lane on a Sunday. Me and my wife tend to share a Saturday or a Sunday if we get the chance just to have a little bit of an extra lay. But it's either a Saturday or a Sunday. So, but otherwise, 6:30, and you're up with the little cherubs.
I'm definitely going to be there. I think we'll have
I'm trying to. I might have at least one tag along. But they'll scoot ahead, I'm sure. On the it'll be tailored with a scooter or Healy, so either way, I'm sure she'll be there.
Nice. Sadly, I can't be there this weekend. I send my apologies. I was intending to be there, but I've got a friend he's come over from France for the weekend, so he's with us. So, and I've got the 2 kids because my wife's having to go away for the weekend due to family commitments. So, sadly,
there'll be more, mate.
There will. Yeah.
A bit of housekeeping as well. I've got a couple of weeks, so I'm not going to be available. Depending on when recording times works, we might be looking for a few people from the Bournemouth community to step in and help us out. I'm off to France next week with work to Bordeaux, and then off to Birmingham the week after. Not as glamorous, but equally as important, unfortunately. It's on the sign.
We'll miss you, buddy. We'll get someone in. We'll get someone in.
Yeah, I will miss you too, and I'll be thinking of you when I'm making healthy choices.
We won't rib you too much, dude. We won't give you too much grief.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. What else we got, Josh? What else is on the agenda for Man v Fat stuff?
The only other thing really is, I guess we must mention it, that we've been nominated, haven't we?
We have,
yeah. And that is down to not what we've done, but I think down to the wonderful community that we belong to.
Absolutely.
Having using the opportunity to have a say, and they've been super kind with their words. And we were notified earlier this week that we've been nominated, and I think it will be officially on the Man v Fat Facebook pretty soon about our nomination. But we were going to attend anyway, weren't we, chaps? We were going to go as the Lose to Win podcast, but we'll be doing that as well as going
representing.
So if there's anything anybody wants, obviously Razor Ruddock is presenting it, and we will hope to collar him for a little interview and asking him about his weight loss journey. I will caveat his weight loss journey, and absolutely no knocking it, but I believe he had, which we can ask him about, a procedure. I think he may have had a stomach sleeve or whatever they call them. I'm not entirely sure, but I think he may have had a gastric band, whatever it may very well be, to help him and aid him with that that weight
he was
loss.
in big trouble, wasn't he? He was like, literally, if you don't do something about it, you're not gonna be around for much longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for somebody that was at one point a professional athlete to be at that point, so obviously very
well, go
difficult
steady. I'm not convinced he was ever a professional athlete. He used to hack people down. He was called Razor for a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
That was a very different time in football.
But that being said, if anybody's got any questions you want us to ask him or anybody else that you know is attending or whatever it may be, look, just give us a shout and we'll do our utmost. But we'd definitely be shoving our phones and little microphones in front of people for some chats, and we'll share it with everybody. That is on the 1st of June, so it'll probably be the week or two after that we'll publish that one.
Yeah, looking forward to it. That'd be awesome. So thank you to everybody that's voted. I think that's fantastic, and well done to you boys as well.
Thank you.
Well done to you two for starting it all off. You guys were the catalyst, and you welcomed me into the fold. So thank you for that.
My pleasure, mate.
Proud to be a part of it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, well, I can just only echo that. A huge thank you. And it's all the small things. Everyone who listens, everyone who's spoken to us in person about it. Overall, it's been overwhelmingly positive. So we can't thank you enough.
Yeah, amazing.
On that note, I went across waters. I went on an international trip to Manfifat Cardiff. I was, in all honesty, I didn't go for that. I was there for business, and it just so happened when I had a little Google at lunch that Manfifat was on a Wednesday night in Cardiff. So I took myself down there, worked out where it was, took myself down there, and got a very warm welcome from the boys there, and spoke to a few of them and got an idea and a flavour for what another one's like. I must admit, it's the first one I've ever been to that's not been ours, so it was interesting to see. We do obviously have Paul on our doorstep and do plan on doing something with them sooner rather than later. But yeah, I met the coach Stan, who has agreed to come onto the pod. He's quite a fella himself. He runs the Newport League as well, which, as anybody who attended the Dorchester Nationals will testify, that they are not only a very good team, but a big old bunch of blokes, to be honest. They had five teams maybe in that.
Yeah, I think they did. Yeah, they won it. Didn't they?
Very strong.
They won the whole thing. The Newport team that year or the year before played in it. They won it the year before. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think they may have won something at some point along the lines. Yeah, so we'll get him on. We'll see how it is juggling two. So they do Newport's a Friday night. So he said, "Oh, you've got to come along to the Newport one." And I was like, "Well, I don't tend to stay out on a Friday night, and it's obviously Manfifat Bournemouth nights." But that being said, if there's an opportunity to do so, I certainly will swing by and see what it's like.
Nice.
But yeah, that was a nice little visit across there, and the weather was typically Welsh and wet and drizzly, so I didn't stay too long, but I enjoyed a couple of games and
well done for getting down there, mate.
It was good. Yeah, I thought
awesome.
Better than sitting in the hotel watching Champions League football. Why not watch some proper football?
Well done, buddy.
Yeah,
love that.
Absolutely. Thank you, mate. Cool. All right, what's up next, Josh? What we got?
Well, a few things that Ben. I mean, come on. Should we talk about your beloved Rangers then, QPR? Just
well, you're going to give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, go on. Let's have it.
Yeah, go on. You're out of trouble yet?
Yeah, well,
the clock starts now.
Well, I think we. If anyone is interested, I know people generally aren't, but it's just a little dip into the Championship. The Championship is super close, and at the moment, I think any one of 9 teams in the bottom 10, Rotherham have already gone, but any one of like 9 teams, I think, are potentially in risk of the drop. So that's how close it is. I think there's 3 or 4 points that separate 23rd and 16th, 15th, something like that. It's completely bonkers. And it's the same at the top, the way the top 3, certainly Ipswich, Leeds and Leicester are at the moment. They're chopping and changing all of the time. So it's quite an exciting time with only 4 or 5 games to go. But just going a little little bit about Rangers and the fact that we were in dire straits the last time we talked, and Marty had just taken over, and I was saying that we just needed a little bit of a run at it and give him a little bit of time. And to be fair, he's done just that since he's took over. I think form wise, if the league had started when he took over, I think we'd be in the top 6 from a form point of view. And we're playing really decent football. We've had the last couple of results weren't great, but then that's because we were playing teams around us. So we lost to Sheffield Wednesday and we drew with Plymouth. to be fair, that was an unlucky draw really, because we were by far the better team, had loads of chances.
Late equaliser as well, wasn't it?
It was late. It was an OG as well. Poor old Uncle Albert came on, and he sadly scored an OG, which was a shame. Bit of a strange substitution, actually. The supporters were a bit confused over it, but anyway, at the end of the day, he's a lifelong fan and a bit of a club legend. So I'm not gonna berate that poor fella for anything. But yeah, it was a bit unlucky. But we didn't take our chances. We had 3 or 4 absolute sitters that they missed, but we got a point, and that's the main thing. So I reckon another draw at least, and I think we'll be safe, because it's close down there, and I'm just really super pleased, because I knew at one point we were 6 points adrift in the bottom 2, and I was a bit worried. But to be fair to them, they've really pulled together, made some nice sort of shrewd signings in January, which have all really put a shift in and shown that they want to be there, and they're trying to do their best for the club, which is all you can ask of players. So just really pleased that we'll hopefully be playing Championship football next season. And that's it. Was that it? Was that about 5 minutes? It was probably less than that, wasn't it?
It's tight, isn't it? I'm just looking at the table
tight,
now.
Man. It's nuts. It's completely nuts.
Every time I think I look and see a QPR result going positively, I think you're creeping away. But like you say, from Swansea got a big win in the week, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think pulling themselves away from it. So I guess from 15th downwards, you're looking at Sheffield United, who got promoted last season, Huddersfield, obviously ex-Prem, Plymouth got promoted with Ipswich, and look how different their season's going. Stoke, I wouldn't be too sad to see the back of Stoke at any point.
No.
Blackburn, Millwall, massive result for Millwall as well, beating Leicester. I think everybody focused on the fact that it was Leicester losing more than Millwall pulling out a win when they needed it.
Well, we beat Leicester a couple of weeks ago. We beat them 1-0.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And that's typical Championship. That's typical. The top teams you'd think they'd spank the bottom teams. They don't. It's not like the Prem, where you can guarantee that a Man City will beat a Sheffield United. It's not like that. On any day, any team can beat another team in the Championship, and that's why it's such good football to watch. And that's why, the pundits, when they talk about it, they all say, I love the Championship, because it's just completely open.
Yeah. It also feels the other end, like nobody wants to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Leicester on 88. Granted, they've got a game in hand over the other teams around them. Ipswich on 88.
Incoming.
yeah. Leeds on 87. Saints on 78. But again, Saints have got a couple of games in hand. Obviously, had that one game with a massive fire next to St Mary's, so that's still to be replayed.
Yeah.
But that, with their 2, they are a little bit drift. But even if they were to win their 2, they really start putting the pressure on Leeds as well. So one of those, a couple of those teams could not make it.
Absolutely. And the thing is, though, I can pretty much guarantee that the team that finishes third out of those top 3, because you're going to have to say that 2 of those teams are automatic, because there's only 4 or 5 games left to go.
Yeah.
2 of those teams are definitely going up. The team that comes third, I almost guarantee you, will not make it through the playoffs.
They never do they? It's always the late run that gets
it's the late run
form,
that comes in. Yeah, that comes in late into the playoffs, that have come in with a bit of form. They're the team that usually make it through. And the disappointment of missing out on the top 2 will be their downfall, and they probably won't even get through the first round of playoffs.
Yeah.
Well, let's be realistic here. So there's 5 points between Norwich and Coventry on the end of the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
So
Norwich are there. I would be really surprised if Coventry made it in.
Well, there you go. So we're saying basically either one of the top 3, and then Southampton, West Brom, and Norwich.
Yeah. I would say so. I mean, Coventry can still make it if Norwich slip up, and Coventry are playing quite well, so they could sneak in. And if they do, I would actually back them to be the team that make it through. Yeah. They are still in the FA Cup as well, though. So
yeah. If you were to bet money on it now, though, who's going up?
Who's going up?
Yeah,
I would probably
Leicester.
I would actually probably go with Leeds and Leicester. To be fair, I think Ipswich might just not quite make it.
Okay, but who's the third then?
For me, probably
Saints.
Do you think? I'm yeah.
Just with the quality they've got in that team, when it comes to a big pressured game, you've got regular international players. I think that big game at Wembley, I think they'll have what they need to do it. And I just think it'll be a shame because it looks like Pompey are coming up, doesn't it? So it could have been Pompey and Saints. It still could be, but Pompey and Saints in the same league for the first time in a long time. That'll be a tasty couple of games to watch for sure.
Saints, they are one of them teams at the moment that they don't. You never know what team you never know what kind of team you're going to come out and do. What they could be playing fantastic football, or they could come out a bit utter dross.
Yeah.
You never quite know what you're going to get, what team you're going to get on the day. So
it's funny because they've out of the last 5, they've got 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. So they've won the last one, draw, loss, draw, one.
Yeah.
And they went unbeaten for like 5 months or something, didn't they? They were really, really good for a long time. And it's pressure. It's that pressure, isn't it? It builds and builds and builds. Yeah. Whilst we're on the subject of our own teams, if you don't mind me moving on and talking about the pressure and that experience within those big games. I obviously watched the Arsenal game midweek, and as much as I'm buzzing to be in the quarter final and how well we've done so far, the gut feeling feels like Tuesday night was a opportunity missed, especially against Bayern. Although they did show their quality and they do have a very, very good team.
Yeah, man.
It just felt like an opportunity missed, and I think I just felt watching it didn't feel like I was watching the Arsenal that I've got used to over the last couple of seasons. There was a lot of nervousness about it, and inevitably when it comes to these crunch moments, I should say, that's where the cream rises to the top, isn't it? That's where you see your Man Cities this time of year. This is why they do it. They've got proven winners throughout their team, and all have won something along the way, probably bar the obvious one with Haaland, whatever, but he's not too far off. Before obviously joining City, now they've done the treble. They're well on potentially do it again.
Yeah.
The only other thing to mention about that, and I'm conscious of time, is the refereeing decisions. Like everybody else, I didn't actually see the Gabriel picking up the ball as it happened. I obviously saw it as it was all kicking off after, but I couldn't get my head round, and I know a lot of people will disagree. I couldn't get my head round why the Saka penalty wasn't given. And then as soon as that came out, it all made sense, because he has made such a faux pas with that first decision, consciously or subconsciously. I think he's in a situation where he's gone, I've fucked up. This is my way of leveling it.
Well, I just think the Saka one was an interesting one. Quickly, I would just say, I didn't watch all of it, but I was surprised just on Arsenal and Man City in their game as well about how open both teams were, despite how great defensively they were, somehow how open they were in the Champions. Anyway, besides that, the Saka one's an interesting one. I don't think it's a penalty because Neuer literally does not move, and I understand that and Saka kind of already has his leg out, quite far in front of him as soon as he's done touching the ball essentially, and he's got a good 2 meters to travel. So I just think that would have been. I don't see why you would give that, to be honest. And as for the other one, I also don't see why you would give it, because it's a bit like it's kind of common sense refereeing there. It's like the intention. What's the intention behind what you're doing? It's not like it's a serious. I can understand the difference for once. Rare actually kicked the ball to Gabriel and he picked it up, unlike every other time you do it, where he rolls it to him.
I don't know how I haven't seen this.
I just but yeah, I think that was just common sense refereeing, to be honest, on that one.
I don't think
why Bayern would be annoyed, but just like,
and I can see the Saka situation. I've seen so many different angles, and I could argue until my face is blue with it. What I don't get is, unfortunately, I don't get your argument with that, with the Gabriel one. I think that's a stonewall penalty, and referees shouldn't be given the freedom to go, it's a schoolboy error. I don't agree that should have been done. What he's done is the most blatant rule break there is, and it should have been a penalty. To the letter of the
law, it should be a penalty. But what I'm trying to say
is, it's not a subjective decision. It's black or white. He's handballed it.
I just think, given the context, I can see why the referee was like,
that shouldn't be ever considered. It should be you've committed something wrong and you should be punished for it.
Well, what did he do though? So hang on. So Raya kicked the ball to him to take a goal kick. Is that what he did?
Gabriel did what he always does and picks it up, puts it down. So he kicks the ball. So the idea is for Arsenal is every single goal kick they do, every single one, without fail almost, Gabriel or Saliba, or whoever it is,
takes the
David
kick.
Raya within the 6-yard box. Yeah, right. That's how they kick off.
Right.
On this one instance, instead of David Raya, who usually has the ball in his hands, who rolls it to Saliba
or throws it Gabriel, to him,
throws it to him to illustrate the fact that he isn't taking the goal kick, he's passing it to
So he kicked it to him.
They put their hand on it and then kick it off. In this one instance, Raya had the ball on the line and kicked it to Gabriel, who then, like he should always assumed he would normally do, picked the ball up with his hands, placed it down, and then kicked it back as a kickoff to David Raya, like he always does.
Whilst we're picking the bones over it, Ben, I think to get a fair and kind of equal opinion on it, just to give it one way or the other, I have just sent it to you. I sent the link into the WhatsApp group. Have a quick look at that while me and Josh were talking.
Okay.
So my problem with it, Josh, is that the ball that's played to Gabriel is not to his feet; it's in front of him, and Gabriel has made that mistake. And I know that you agree with that the mistake has been made and that it's done. What I really struggle with is that opinion that it's and referees. There are times that they can be. Oh, I think the foot wasn't as high as dangerous as it could have been in that tackle, or I don't think he pulled his shirt so the player didn't fall properly. Or in the Saka situation, I think he's asked for the foul rather than won the foul, if that makes sense. He's really put his foot in, whatever that may be. That's where the subjectivity comes in when it's something like this. And what pisses me off is that I'm certain that I can never be 100%, but I'm certain it feels like that decision for the Saka decision is led by a mistake that he's made earlier in the game. There was, from that point, I've seen a few threads. There's a few threads that talk about and show occasions that decisions past that point that he made the mistake with Gabriel were heavily in favour of Bayern Munich as a weighing up argument. And again, we can never be certain or say 100% that's what he was doing. And I doubt he could, because it may be a subconscious decision. But it just feels like, or I certainly feel like, it's either yes or no. Have you watched it, Ben?
I love it.
What do you think?
It's a pen, isn't it? That's a pen all day long.
Yeah,
totally. But
I agree that it is. But
I mean, the Bayern players go at it like I would go at it if someone's gone in the area in Man v Fat.
Yeah, and that's black and white, isn't it? Either you've done it or you haven't. That's the simplest of.
I mean, you can see it's a mistake. You can see it's a mistake because clearly, as you say, it's their routine, and you can see that he's giving it to him and he just picks it up nonchalantly and kicks it back. You can see that he wasn't really thinking about it, but at the same time, it's a stone.
You do notice in that clip as well that David Raya, as soon as he picks up the ball, as soon as Gabriel picks the ball, looks at the ref, immediately looks at the ref.
Guilty,
and as do some of the other Arsenal players.
Yeah.
So you can tell they turn around and it's a bit like, oh dear. I agree. I agree with you, by the way. I will just say this: can we just agree that the refereeing in Europe in general is way better than the Premier League? Like, I don't think I've seen it ever been bad at all, really. I mean, I would.
The involvement of VAR is a lot less as well. I think
they use a different system, don't they? Isn't it?
Yeah,
they use a chip in the ball, don't they? There's a slight...
for the offside. They use the what's it called, Josh? Is it augmented offside or something like that? I can't remember. Semi-automated offside, I think it is. So it kind of has a digital image running every second, every millisecond, a picture taken, and they can work it out from that by that. But the other side of it as well is there is a I can't remember the name of the guy that does the Sky Sports refereeing, not bloody I can't remember his name either, not the Spurs fan. The
on Saturday, on Soccer Saturday.
No, not Mike Dean. Sorry, the other guy that does it like midweek. Basically, he was talking through how the UEFA referees are briefed completely different to the Premier League referees, and it's that's it, Dermot O'Leary, and the VAR side of things. Not Dermot O'Leary, no, he's Dermot Gallagher.
Yeah, that's it, Dermot Gallagher.
Dermot O'Leary authority on refereeing.
Yeah, and he was saying
get him involved. He plays in the charity games, doesn't he? Sometimes
he does, yeah. Soccer Aid. Well, I think he commentates, doesn't he?
Anyway, he was saying that the UEFA refs are briefed completely different with VAR. It's they ask for when they need the VAR's help, rather than the VAR going, I need you to look at it.
Right, dictating. Yeah.
So they'll say,
that's a better way of using it. And I always thought that was when it came in.
Can you double check for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than we've
and
watched this a million times in super slow-mo, and we think you should look at it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, we can all dream that the Premier League gets to that eventually, but the Premier League are a law to themselves and do what they want.
Yeah, I'm glad they agreed this semi-automated offside. Every time it's been used, it seems to be pretty damn good.
So, yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, it would just make those decisions, line drawing, so much easier. I would assume they just rely on it on some level.
Yeah, they're talking about changing the parameters, though, aren't they? Because it's because I mean, it's too. There's never the biggest problem with it has always been the precise moment that the ball is kicked.
Yeah.
So with the one with the chip, with the ball that's got the chip in it, it's much easier to define exactly when the ball is kicked to where the player is in line.
How they look at it at the moment now, there's almost 3 frames that show when the ball has started to be kicked and when the ball releases from the foot.
Correct.
And by the time it's released the foot,
they're offside.
They take a step forward and they say it's offside, but it isn't. Yeah. If that makes sense, it's
totally.
It should be the initial impact, and that's where that helps.
Yeah.
Cool. One other
crossed.
thing about the midweek football I wanted to mention, I know it's in our notes to have a chat about, is the Foden Bellingham battle the other night. And I was lucky enough to be at a pub that had both games on, and that you couldn't keep your eyes off either of them. It was really difficult to watch and enjoy both because they were both on at the same time. But I thought Foden, like, that's him world stage kind of stepping up now. I think I know the Premier League is pretty much like that anyway, but to do it against a team like that, I wouldn't say directly it's a Foden Bellingham battle, but how good I thought they both were, but Foden especially was just.
I think my point was
gravy.
Thinking back to the England situation with who plays that number 10 role, and I mean they're both extraordinary players. Don't get me wrong, but I think Phil has just come to a point where he is just slightly edging. He played in that Man City side, which is such a good side. He is probably the best player in that side of the
He's a linchpin, isn't he?
Yeah, totally. And I know it's come from the lack of minutes that De Bruyne has had through injury, but I think he's taken his chance. And he's been saying all along that he wants to play through the middle. His best position is through the middle, but Pep's always played him out wide because of other players, blah, blah, blah. But he's been given this opportunity and he's there and he's absolutely nailing it. And the boy is just different class for me. I know Bellingham's good.
Both of them need to be on the pitch for me.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think Foden goes into that left and Bellingham plays in the middle in that left 8, and they're able to swap. They're able to pop up in each place.
Yeah, giving them the ability to move and rotate, I think is probably key. I think if you force them into specific positions, I think you're going to miss out. I think there's problems. I think you need to give them a little bit of freedom.
Like Southgate said before, hasn't he, that he doesn't see Foden in number 10 because he doesn't play there often enough. Well, now he's actually playing in the number 10. He's been absolutely brilliant.
Smashing it. Yeah.
But he'll probably sit around and say, well, I can only pick one of either Foden or Bellingham in that position. And then it was just, this is where I get frustrated when we come to Gareth.
He will, but he'll play both. But we had this with Scholes, didn't we? Scholes was shoehorned into the team because we had the quality across the middle.
Yeah.
And Scholes was playing on the left, on the right. Well, he never played on the right because of Bex, did he? But he was always on the left.
Totally wasted.
But it was almost like at that point, though, I think they were so rigid with their formations and positions that he didn't get given the freedom that I think Foden should be given, and so should Jude. As long as you've got Rice behind him, I think you're relatively safe against majority of international teams anyway. And the athleticism of Bellingham, especially with his defensive abilities as well, I think will get you out of jail. It's who's in that other 8 will make a big difference.
Yeah.
And that's the one that's open.
Saying, like, can't we have Foden and Bellingham there? They both do it.
That'd be awesome. But it's never going to happen.
But then who do you play on the left? I don't know.
Not Marcus Rashford.
Well, he would be the first
not
one.
Marcus Rashford, but he would be the number one.
He would, yeah.
It's only because Cole Palmer plays on the right.
Yeah.
And so does Jarrod Bowen, and so does
Saka.
And it's like, Yeah,
I would fancy Bowen.
Otherwise,
I would give Bowen
Gordon
left if you were to play them both.
On the left.
Yeah, I guess you could.
It's a difficult one.
Anyway,
another England.
So you could go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, you got to. As much as I'm not Southgate's biggest fan, it's a good problem to have, but he certainly got himself a problem.
I just think in that Man City side, because Haaland's dropped away, I think he's been not found out, but since he got injured, he's not been as prolific as he was, and I do think teams know how to play against him now. And he had his first season where he was pumping him in, but now it's like they know how to deal with him. And so Foden has stepped up in that situation, and he has just been electric in that City side through the middle, and I think he's made himself undroppable really. And you know what Pep's like, and I know he dropped him. He didn't come on at all, did he, last weekend after getting a hat trick, and that's kind of frustrating from a fantasy football point of view. But I think he's just nailed on in that side. I would expect him now to be the first name on a big game. He would be the first name on that team sheet for Man City, and that's a treble winning side. He was still playing for a treble again this season.
Yeah,
so
I still think they'll do that this season as well, which would be mental.
Yeah, I think they probably will, because they've got the mentality to do it.
By the way, that third goal for his hat trick against Villa, by the way, what I loved about it, and I know this sounds like a silly comparison, but when Rooney scored that volley against Newcastle, and he'd just been having it with the ref. And he turns around, just volleys it. Well, Foden had literally just been hacked down.
And he was complaining
about a foul, and then he picks up the ball and he just wellies it.
What's a goal as well. Unreal. And that's a natural talent, isn't it, that to be able to do that. Unbelievable.
I think reminded me of that. I just thought, he's just brilliant.
Do you ever see the clips of the of Thierry Henry, Carragher and that Kate Abdo and Mika Richards on the CBS on the they do like the US coverage of the Champions League,
right?
And Henry literally they showed it side by side. Have you seen it, Josh?
No, I haven't seen this one. I don't think. But
side by side with him going almost as it happens, like milliseconds before, but you can see it happening. He goes Foden left foot top corner. And it literally just like ever click a switch, it happened. Ball straight to his feet, top corner. And he just like it was almost like when he scored that quick free kick, like turn around, is that enough? Like he had that face, like this is what I do. Like I love it for that arrogance, French arrogance. But like
he's brilliant. I love that. I love them on that show. By the way, I think the chemistry's brilliant.
Oh, absolutely. Him and Ferdinand were bang on. They both said it in different ways, but it's like Foden has stepped up so much that team is now on his shoulders. Like he is the superstar in that team.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
And it's just
good, perfect timing, getting into a tournament. Just piled of pressure on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, Phil, you're the man. You do it. Come on.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, back to that pressure that we've put on previous players, we've been in a situation that there wasn't many other superstars around them, but the England team is full of superstars now.
Yeah. Well, we talked a bit before about how it was a bit reliant on Jude, but I think it's good that the other players around him are now stepping up and showing their true form, because that will take the pressure off of him as well, because people won't be like it's all down to Bellingham. It's all down to Bellingham. We've got other players in there. Grealish is playing again, which is a good thing.
Yeah. I'm glad Saka stepped up against a big team now. It was a lot of criticism of no big game goals, and that was a huge one, to be honest.
Yeah. And Kane's banging them in left, right, and centre. So there'll be plenty of big players there. So to take the pressure off of each other, or share the load, as it were. So good times. I
liked your Harry Kane penalty prediction. Not that it was like a massive thing, but as soon as you said it, I was like, well, obviously,
100% it was going to happen. I think I said on the pod, didn't I? I said you could put your house on it. You could honestly put your house on it. He'll he wouldn't necessarily win the penalty, but he'll score a penalty.
Yeah, of course he will.
Yeah.
And me and Liam both sat there with head in hands while it happened, while we were watching it at the pub. And I just go back to that summer. I was like, why couldn't you just rolled one in like that for England, you prick? It would have been a completely different story.
Yeah, it was a good penalty.
It was so calm and so good. And he's probably in the form of his life, I would suggest.
Yeah. I'm hoping that going to Munich, having slightly more time between games, especially having a winter break.
Yeah,
and
big difference.
And just keeping himself fresh and being in a very good side, obviously, I think mentally that will take some pressure off him as well, because he's not under the Premier League spotlight.
Do you know what I thought about as well? Is that he's going to be used to playing in all of these stadiums that we're going to be playing in as well.
Yeah, right.
And the German fans will love him as well.
They'll love him. Yeah, he won't be getting shit from the German fans.
Yeah.
Well,
a little bit.
Every other than Bayern Munich, maybe. Yeah. It's it's mental, isn't it? But,
love it.
What's next? What we got?
Well, that was it in general football chat. Unless there's something else you guys want to.
No, I think we'll
go
dive
through
into the FPL, shall we?
I think we might as well do a little bit of cheeky FPL.
Unbelievably, Steve is top of the fantasy, one of the fantasy leagues that we're involved in.
You say unbelievably. Don't forget he did win it in 1995.
No, I know he did.
When there were 3 people in it.
4 people.
Yeah.
It's more luck than judgment, though. I think, to be fair, well, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, but he basically reaped the rewards of a couple of good Fulham results with his blind faith.
His blind faith in Fulham recently, until recently where he changed his team. Managed to shoot him back up there.
Yeah, fair play though. Fair play.
Yeah, because they either score 3 or let 3 in. Don't
exactly.
They're a strange team at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. A bit like this Southampton I was talking about. You never quite know what team you're going to get, whether they're going to smash it or completely be awful.
Yeah.
Quite frustrating from a fan point of view.
Yeah. What's the hot tip then, Josh? What's next?
Well, we're getting into the business end of the season, so we're on game week 33 of 38 total. Obviously, with a few teams having to play 6-7 games still, they've got a couple of
game weeks.
Double weeks, coming up. So this is where all your points come in if you've prepped a little bit and you've got your chips still, like me. So
still got all my chips. Really.
You got all of them?
No one likes gloaters.
No, I've got my free hit, my bench boost left.
Oh, okay.
So
those 2. My plan is to free hit in game week 34, so not this but next week, and then the bench boost in game week 30.
Have you already you wildcarded already, haven't you?
Yes, I have. So I have wildcard already, and in that wildcard I brought in a lot of players who will double in game week 37.
Okay.
For next week, I will free hit all the players out that I don't need, obviously, and get a load of double players.
Yeah.
For 34, and then also because I've got Chelsea and Spurs players, who also double in 35. So I'll have a full team of doublers on 34, full team of doublers in 37, plus my bench boost on that one. Plus on the bench, as I say. And then
when are you going to bench boost?
On
37?
30, yeah, because I'll have a full team, including all 15, well, maybe 14, all double game weeks.
All doubling?
Yeah.
Wowzers.
And then in 35, I'll have 5 players currently in my team who double Spurs and Chelsea.
They're playing each other, though, right?
Yes, they are in one of the games. Yes, so that's not ideal.
No.
But you have to remember with double game weeks is that it's not only a chance to get double appearance points, but it's also potentially double bonus. If they have any return of any kind. So you never know. Plus, people like Chelsea and Spurs can't keep clean sheets anyway at the moment.
No.
So that'd be an interesting one. Yeah, but this week, because I'm free hitting next week, it's just a reminder to anyone who does have it and is planning to, that if you do have 2 transfers, use them both, because you don't get to roll it after you free hit. So
that's right.
Advise using it just to prep for future game weeks. So for me, I'm going to do David Raya from us to Onana, who's got a double in 37.
Mm-hmm.
People will say that's insane, but it's more just that Onana makes a lot of saves because Man United give up so many shots.
Correct. Yeah.
And they have Bournemouth, Sheffield United, Burnley, Crystal Palace in the next 4, and then a double.
Nice.
So that's not too bad. And the other one will be getting rid of Connor Bradley because Trent's going to be back soon. And then getting in just a player I'll bench for now, so a Newcastle defender, so like Dan Burn, because again they double in 37, and they also have Crystal Palace, Sheffield United, Burnley, and then a double after this week. So
Newcastle do.
Yeah. So they have Tottenham this week, but he'll be on my bench, and then they've got Crystal Palace, Sheffield United, Burnley, and then a double, and then Brentford in the last game of the season.
Fair.
Not too bad. Man United and Newcastle probably good shouts to try and target, despite how poor they are. Well, poor Man United are. So that's my plan, really.
Question.
In exciting running. Go on.
Foden, I don't reckon he's likely to play against Luton, is he?
He's got a knock.
He's got a knock, and it's Luton, and they've got Champions League next round.
There's a chance he won't play.
Second leg.
Or at least if he does play, he will play like 50, 60 minutes. Or he'll get like a cameo where he'll like play 20 minutes off the bench. There's a good chance, one way or the other, that he might not play. So having a good bench is one thing. I would just say that if he does miss Luton, I think you can. I don't know. We were talking about how nailed he is. He's been pretty set in that side, really.
City are a nightmare though on double game weeks, aren't they? Don't forget, he always fucks up fantasy football teams. Pep is the nightmare for it.
Yeah, but we were saying, weren't we? I mean, how? Like,
what are the opponents? Who have they got in their double week?
They
haven't got one for a while, have they? It's not till game week 37, right? Who are they playing?
Yeah, they're playing Fulham and then Spurs, both away.
I think it'll depend on where they are at in the league at that point as to whether he plays both.
I think and they got FA Cup as well. I just think he didn't play a minute against Crystal Palace.
No.
And then he plays I don't know how many minutes he played. I assume he played 90. Or
against
when he got knocked off, when he got taken off.
No, he got taken off. Yeah, he did do the full 90. I think it was close, but not the full. And I don't think he would have played I don't think he would have started if De Bruyne wasn't sick before. Pep said that he'd been taken ill.
In that case, I think if he was fit this weekend or he's declared fit, I think you play him because let's be honest, the chance of him playing Luton at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you want to take that, in my opinion, and just take the chance that he gets some minutes. Basically, there's no guarantee of great minutes, but it's not much I can say on that one.
No.
I mean, for example, I'm captaining Haaland against Luton, even though Salah's got Crystal Palace, and Palmer's got Everton and people like that, just because, I mean,
they're quite leaky. They're quite leaky. They do score a few, but they're also quite leaky from a goal point of view. So that would be I would think that would be quite a high scoring game, the Luton game.
Yeah.
And I would expect Luton to score as well, ironically.
I mean, I would be desperate. He might not be coming in for me this week, Foden, but he is one of the players I was considering.
You not got him?
Considering getting rid of Saka for Foden. Yeah, no, I don't have him. So that gives you.
Now I have got rid of Bowen. I've taken Bowen out. Finally, he was injured. Yeah, and I've had him all season up to this point. But because of the way the games are coming up over the next few weeks, I thought, well, he's injured anyway, so just get him out.
Anyway,
and so European football for them as well. So even if he was playing, he probably would have been the type that was rested for Premier League
games.
For it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what your team's like. Mine's going to be Onana, Gusto, Van Hecke, Ait-Nouri, Salah, Saka, Son, Palmer, Haaland, Isak, and Darwin this week. So
Salah who? Salah who did you say? Have you got up top? Haaland,
Isak, and Darwin.
Nice. I've wildcarded this week.
Have you?
I've wildcarded this week in preparation for the double week next week to bench boost.
I see. Okay. Well, that's not a bad shout. That's a pretty good shout, actually. I like that.
And I've still got my triple captain for game week 37.
Fair enough.
But that's going to be a bit contentious because it kind of will depend on who is likely to be rotated, because that always terrifies me.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue if you considered it the other way round.
What, triple captain next week?
Yeah. So what you do is you do your wild card and think about not necessarily
37.
This coming week, but 37. I mean, it's difficult because you don't have a free hit. So
no.
And then bench boost in 37, because then you can have a full team or close to a full team of 15 people who've got double game weeks.
Double weeks, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, yours sounds like a good thought, so I wouldn't really give it too much of a second thought. It was just an idea.
Yeah. So. I've got some points to catch up, so I thought I'd try something a little bit outside the box. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's a last hurrah for me to try and make it into the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I want to win this league, but I'm actually quite focused on my overall rank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm 112,000 at the moment, so
nice.
I want to be inside that top 100k.
I mean, our league is pretty close. There's only between me, between Gareth is probably just, so between 9th and 1st, there's only like just under 100 points, which is not a huge amount actually, with a couple of double game weeks and chips to be played in the last couple of weeks. That's, that's fairly, that could go anywhere. I know, of course, everyone tends to end up with a similar sort of team towards this time of the season, but I think interesting with the 2 double game weeks that people playing different chips.
I actually think, I was going to say that's actually what I think. I don't think that's necessarily the case, because especially as you were just saying, my strategy is completely different to you. So the players I have right now, I imagine be different to what you've already got in your team. I mean, I don't think many people are going to be playing Van Hecker and 8 Nuri this week.
No, well, I have got 8 Nuri. I have got 8 Nuri.
Well, if he's fit, I play him, by the way, this week. But
I don't know if he will be.
Well, yeah, he's in my team currently. But if he's not fit, then I'll play. Probably Udogie. I don't know, Udogie against Newcastle, or it'll be Dan Burn against Spurs. So I don't know if I love either of them. But yeah, so I'm hoping he's fit. But yeah, I mean, it's just that's the thing, you see. I mean, I don't have Foden, as you mentioned. I have Darwin, and not loads of people have Darwin. I have Isak, and not loads of people have Isak.
No, that's true.
He's 24% owned. Darwin is 20% owned. So
I've gone a bit outside. I bought Havertz in.
Yeah, well, that's not bad. Again, he's not hugely highly owned. Steve does own him, by the way, at the top of the league, which is one of the reasons why he's top of the league.
He's just done really. The last few games, he's been on tip-top form, and they've got a double next week. So, and that's Wolves and Chelsea. So,
yeah, he'll be on my list of potentials next week. Because I'll have, as I say, I've got my free hit, so I'll have 3 Arsenal, 3 Liverpool, 3 whoever else is playing doubles, basically. So I can't remember all the teams.
Wolves. Who else? Chelsea, not City.
So Bournemouth.
Not.
So I'll have Solanke.
Bournemouth.
Yeah. So I'll have Solanke. So.
When do you reckon Bradley's going to come out then? When do you reckon Alexander-Arnold will come back in?
Well, I was just going to check about whether Trent was in the squad today, because he's playing tonight, which is, as we record on Thursday now at the moment, for the Europa League. So I was just going to basically check whether he's played any minutes there. He didn't start.
He's in the squad though, is he?
I believe he's in the squad. So yeah,
they're losing,
come
by
back
the
from
way.
a decent injury. Yeah, I think he's come back from a pretty big injury, hasn't he? So
they'll ease him back in. Even when he comes back in, he won't play huge amounts of minutes.
Yeah, he's on the bench, but I don't think he'll come off necessarily.
So who's he played in defence in? Gomez, Van Dijk, Konate, and Tsimikas. So Tsimikas has come back from injury as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think if Trent isn't fit, Bradley will play this weekend. But because of my free hit next week and the fact that I need to use that second transfer, I don't love getting rid of Bradley. But just because I need to prep, I will.
Fair. Well, anyway, very good. Thanks for that. Yeah. Jack, you still there? He went very quiet.
No, he was lost and gone in the process. He had to leave.
Did he? Did he literally just go, I'm going? I'm bored.
Yeah. He left during our little fantasy bit.
I didn't even notice.
He had to leave.
Did he?
He did have to leave.
Oh, cheerio, mate.
So, so he's
gone. I was
gone.
too busy taking a deep dive into the world of fantasy football.
Anyway, much love to Jack, who had to leave early.
Cheers, Jackie. Well done. Just going back to a bit of FPL. Have you played much of the challenge? Because I know we kind of mentioned it.
Honestly,
yeah, a few people have, but I think people kind of fell away from it fairly quickly. I've quite enjoyed it, to be honest. I know it's got a few teething problems. This week's one is a bit crap. It's sportsmanship. So any player that gets a red card gets -8 points. And anyone who gets a yellow card gets -5 points.
I see. Well,
so that's a bit naff. No,
is that definitely this week? Is it?
That's week 33, yeah. And then the following week is
I know the next
promoted punt.
Yeah, so basically that means Burton Diaz, who's getting in my team for challenge, probably on 4 times his normal points, because he'll be double plus I'll captain him.
Yeah. So Burnley, Luton, Sheffield all get double points. But yeah, I did quite well last week. Like, I was top of our little league last week because I had 3 Arsenal defenders and he put in goal Pickford in goal, so they all kept clean sheets. And then the midfield and forwards were all Man United, Liverpool players, and they all pretty much all of the players I put in returned points. So I got over 100 points last week, so that was quite cool. But it's an 108 points. There you go. I got last week. So I quite like it. I like it.
Apart from week 1, I haven't done it. I just keep forgetting, if I'm really honest.
Well,
I think next season there'll be time where I'll dedicate properly to it.
Yeah, it's a bit glitchy. But there you go.
I struggled to make a team.
I'm in the top 5% of the global of overall. There you go. That's not bad, is it?
There you go. Really good.
2,058 in the UK, 11,000 in the world. I love that.
Nice. Very good going.
Anyway, that was a little bit of
a. Anyway, shall we leave it there then this week then?
Benjamin? I think we should. Yeah. Thanks, mate. It's been a pleasure as always.
Yes, as usual.
And it's nice to be back. We had a week off, didn't we? Apologies. We never tell anyone when we're having a week off, do we? We probably should do that.
Pretty terrible of us, really. We're not very good on the social media and keeping up with people, are we? And just
no, I think we probably
just kind of do it, don't we? Really, and just
should we have a week off? Yeah, we'll have a week off. Nothing to talk about this week. So apologies if you were planning on listening last week and there was nothing there. We generally speaking, if there's a week off of Man v Fat, which is usually over the Easter or Christmas break, or sometimes bank holidays, isn't it? If we have one over a bank holiday, we did a roundup, so therefore we kind of think that maybe we'll just miss that. So we apologise profusely to anyone who tuned in and was expecting a pod. But hopefully you'll have enjoyed this week's as much as always. So thanks everyone for your support, and again thanks for the nomination. We look forward to getting up to the awards and meeting a few of the folk from the wider Man v Fat community. That'd be cool.
Yeah, who knows, we might win it.
You never know.
Yeah,
nice,
thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah,
thanks a lot, Ben.
Cheers, buddy. Always a pleasure, mate. And I'll see you tomorrow night for some fatty football fun.
Indeed.
Cheers, dude. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.